There you are, my beautiful people, and welcome back to another thrilling episode of the most disturbing videos on the internet today. For context, don't believe anything you hear or see on this video. Do not attempt anything you see on this video. It is strictly for entertainment purposes only. None of it's factual. With that being said, don't forget to hype your boy up, hit that like and subscribe button, and let's dive in. Tennis star Camille Mojanzak gave a young boy a hat and it was snatched from a grown man in the US Open. That dude is pure diabolical. What type of heart does a man have taking it from a young kid? And look at this girl just recording it. They need to find this couple like how they found the couple at the Coldplay concert, man. That is just ridiculous. And look, he had the nerve to give the pen back to him. The statues nobody talks about.
There's a theory that the Hoover Dam is secretly a demonic throne and that the government put angels there to cover it up. You go to the Hoover Dam, you're gonna see something really odd. There's a spot that has two giant winged statues made out of bronze. They look like angels, right? They are technically called the winged figures of the Republic, but this is the weird part. No one officially says what they are. They're not angels, they're not demons, they're figures. And that's not random. There's actually a floor underneath them that is a cosmic map. Shows the exact alignment of the stars the day that the dam was completed. Like they wanted like aliens or gods to find this lake. You'd think it's just some like artsy little design, right? But the guy who made that design said that this is specifically supposed to last for thousands of years. Like that design was supposed to outlive our civilization. And this is where it gets a little darker. People also call this place the throne of the devil. But why would a dam need a cosmic star map and then two 20, 30-foot bronze guardians? And then all of these like occult looking type symbols. Well, get this. So over 100 workers died while building the dam. And some people do believe that their bodies were sealed into the concrete and that they were considered to be sacrifices to bless the sculpture. And then on top of all of this, the location of these statues don't really make any sense. Like, why would they have these big designs at a power plant? And if you're religious, you also have to remember Satan was originally an angel. Another crazy thing to note is that the Hoover Dam has been featured in dozens of end-of-the-world movies, disaster scenes, and games. It has always been the center of destruction and
Transformers just went right off the bat.
Secret technology. And then it's like, is that a coincidence or is it programming for us to see it as the key to something? Even the name Hoover comes from a president who was involved in major US power shifts, literal power and electricity. And this makes you wonder if the government is trying to hide in plain sight. Massive monuments with spiritual symbolism built into them. Government approved, celebrated, protected, and most of us never even question it. So when you pass by and you take a little selfie, you don't even realize you're standing on what some call a throne. But the question remains, a throne for who exactly?
And another theory is where's all that power going to that's being generated from the Hoover Dam? Yeah, it can power a city, but some people say there's a lot more power that's not being used that they're not talking about. Could it be possible that they're powering a Stargate somewhere under the Hoover Dam?
Here it is. We finally found it. Can you see? The Torii gates are right in front. There's also like another extra materials. Maybe another gate was here, but it got destroyed maybe. Or it looks like there's a lot of things inside. A lot of decorations. And you can see lanterns here. Lanterns decorating the cave. So this is the secret of the cave. And this was what actually took place here. So every year a summer festival would be celebrated here in this cave. The locals here, they repurposed this World War II tunnel into a summer festival place. For some reason, they decided to celebrate it here. I'm not so sure why. So there was actually quite a lot of good vibes here. Imagine this this place being bustling, people walking around. There are supposed to be food stalls, game stalls inside. So maybe we'll see remnants of that inside, but we'll have to walk through the Torii gates first. Let's have a closer look at the gates. Look how old the gate is. Looks like it's falling apart, but I mean, it's still standing strong. The thing with Torii gates is most of the time they are found in very natural places and sometimes in very inaccessible places, like this one in this cave over here. So I just wonder, of all the tens and thousands of Torii gates built in Japan, how many have still yet to be found? Like how many are in like weird or very unique locations that are just not found yet? Tradition says you have to bow before going and not walk in the middle because the middle is for the gods. So us mortal humans, we need to walk at the side. Let's head in. I'm coming in.
That is extremely cool that they found that in a cave, but I'll be a little wary about going under it.
The Shanghai tunnels are a series of tunnels underneath Portland, Oregon. Now, they go back to the 1800s when they were actually built and used to Shanghai people. Now, a lot of creepy stories have came out of the Shanghai tunnels. This is one of them. Now, there was this man named Sean. Sean grew up in Portland, Oregon, and he worked downtown. And one day when he was going to work, he ran into this homeless man named Eli. And he felt really bad for him, so he gave him $10. Well, he continued to see Eli, and they ended up becoming friends. And he would constantly give him money, like here and there. Well, one day he was downtown, and he runs into Eli, and he gives him a couple bucks, and they start talking. And he asked Eli, like, hey, have you ever heard of the Shanghai tunnels? And when he asked Eli that, Eli just kind of like tensed up and started shaking and was like visibly scared. And he's like, yeah, I know about the tunnels, but I don't like to talk about it. I had a friend who went down there and he said he encountered something and he's seen something down there. And after that, he was just not the same anymore. And Sean was like, but I thought they blocked the tunnels off and you couldn't go down there. And Eli's like, there's a spot over here, on this one street. And like, I know a secret entrance and how to get to these tunnels, but I will not go near there. So a couple more times he runs into Eli and he decides to ask him, hey, if I give you $100, would you take me down to the tunnels? And Eli's like, no, man, I will not do it. Like, I won't go anywhere near there. So a couple weeks later, he's downtown and it's late at night. He bumps into Eli again. And Eli's like, hey, man, do you got that $100 and I'll take you to the tunnels because I really need the money. And he's like, okay, yeah, like, here's the money. Like, show me the tunnels. So he takes him a couple blocks and he takes him behind this building. And there was sort of this dark doorway. And he said above the doorway was this graffiti that said no return. And he said that just kind of freaked him out because it was like they were going into somewhere where there was no return. And they then began walking down these dark set of stairs. And they found themselves in this maze of tunnels. So they make their way down all of these different corridors. As they're walking down this one particular tunnel, they start hearing crying. And they're like, where's that coming from? Like, what is making that sound? And it then began to sound like someone was just literally like wailing. And that's when they shined their flashlight and they stumbled upon like a hole in the concrete and it led into a room. So they walked into this room and they started to look around with their flashlight. When over in the corner, they see this black-looking wolf dog type creature, and it's growling at them. So they take off running. They're terrified. Sean couldn't keep up with Eli, and he ends up getting lost in one of the tunnels. So he begins just walking around in the dark, like, Eli, like, where are you, man? Like, I'm scared. Like, where are you? And that's when he hears something, like a footsteps moving in the dark. So he shines his light directly in front of him, and he said he sees this woman hunched over, and she's bawling. She's crying. And he's like, ma'am, are you okay? She doesn't say anything. Takes a couple steps closer. Ma'am, are you all right? And he said, all of a sudden, this woman stood up, turned around, and she had no face. And this terrified him. So he took off running again, and he's like screaming and stuff. Eventually, he thinks he sees the shadow of his friend Eli. So he's like, Eli, man, like, come on, let's get out of here. Like, I'm terrified. Come on, let's go. And he said the shadow walked into like one of these chambers along the tunnel. So he walks over to this chamber and he goes in and he's like yelling for Eli. He looks around. There's no one in this chamber or room. He said that's when all of a sudden he felt a cold breath breathing on his neck and he knew there was someone standing behind him. He slowly turns around and he said standing there was what looked like this 1800s miner wearing some kind of lantern on his head, and he had a noose around his neck. And he just took off running as fast as he can. And eventually he did find his way out of these tunnels, and he was just like terrified. Well, a couple days later, he runs into Eli on the streets, and he's like, yo, man, are you okay? Like, what happened that night? You know, did you see anything else? And Eli's like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, what's going on? And he's like, you know, the other day when we went to the tunnels, he's like, the tunnels, what are you talking about? I don't go to the tunnels. And he's like, no, we went down in the tunnels together, and we seen that like whoop thing. And he's like, you must be losing it, man, because I did not go down in the tunnels with you. The Shanghai tunnels are a series of tunnels under.
That would make a crazy movie, wouldn't it? The Shanghai tunnels. I believe you can actually go there. It's like part of the Oregon Trail. I could be wrong, but I think so. Not that I would, you know, we would have to do a group or something.
Have you ever heard of Portland, Oregon's Shanghai Tunnel? The tunnels are over 150 years old, and they were built to transport goods under the city instead of in the traffic of the city. And now these tunnels are considered to be one of the most haunted locations in the world. Way back in the day, when most goods were still shipped, sailors would often skip out on their captains because they were afraid of a long life at sea. But this would often leave captains with not enough sailors to leave port. So in order to fix this problem, they would kidnap well-bodied men to either face starvation or take $50 to sail with them. But when men became aware of what was happening, they would frequent the bars less and less, so captains turned to kidnapping women. So you can only imagine how many people died in these tunnels. People who have explored these tunnels say that they just feel like somebody is watching them from the shadows. They get goosebumps and chills the entire time they're in there. There is also a spirit named Sam that many people have claimed to encounter. Sam likes to turn the lights on and off in some parts of this tunnel. And he also likes to move things around while the guests are walking through. Many people have claimed to see full-body apparitions of him. One tour guide said that he heard someone calling out the name Sam over and over, but it wasn't anyone from the group he was guiding. Many people have claimed to feel ghost fingers touching their shoulders. And Sam also reportedly likes to tug on your clothes and trip you on occasion. Most people think that Sam is a nice ghost, but some people think he's a little bit of a trickster too. So would you explore these tunnels? Let me know down in the comments and follow for more creepy things.
This horrifying video was captured by Jacob, an experienced explorer with a passion for uncovering the secrets of abandoned mines. This horrifying video was captured by Jacob, an experienced explorer with a passion for uncovering the secrets of abandoned mines. For nearly 20 years, Jacob has ventured into forgotten tunnels, documenting his journeys and sharing the fascinating history of these hidden places with his viewers. While his explorations often showcase the beauty and mystery of abandoned mines, this experience was different, something he would never forget, and not in a good way. It all happened a few years ago. It was December 5th, 2017, a cold and rainy winter evening. Jacob stepped into his car and began driving down a dark and desolate road, not knowing what awaits him.
Okay, that's the portal to the Waldeck mine. I'm inside. The wind has kind of died down a little bit, and it's not raining, so I managed to stay dry. Of course, I'm inside this little alcove, kind of. But anyway, you come down this little incline path, and then big boulders here you have to climb over, and then the tunnel's right behind me this way. So let's check it out. Let's get in here.
As Jacob entered the mine, everything seemed normal. Calm, even. For someone accustomed to these dangerous explorations, there was nothing particularly unusual. Yet, as he ventured deeper into the tunnels, an uneasiness began to creep in.
So, okay, wow. Oh, Jesus, wow, so that goes up into the stope, and you can see up there where my light is, all of those stacked boulders on that big round timber right there, all of that rock is apparently being supported by this ceiling made out of wood and timbers. So there's a lot of weight on here, on these boards. So we'll carefully and quietly go through here. And you can see the tunnel continuing down there, another ore chute. Yeah, like right here, it's kind of breaking. That timber there is kind of breaking, and wow, this is crazy.
Jacob made his way deeper into the mine, walking beneath precarious, rotten wooden beams that supported the immense weight of the earth above. The danger was palpable, but for Jacob, this was part of the thrill. After walking for over 15 minutes, the strange events began.
We're going to take this branching tunnel that we skipped on the way in. I'm assuming that X means a dead end or somebody died.
Did you see it? It did go fast, but when you watch closely, you can see a faint flicker of light, like a flashlight, appear at the far end of the tunnel. Jacob didn't seem to notice it and continued walking, and that's where things started to get even creepier.
Wow, crazy. And then you can see how big these timbers are. That's about almost a foot in diameter, the big cross timbers. So they had to put big ones in here to hold up all of this rock. You can see right here where some of these boards are bending. Do you hear that? Sounds like, what is that, wind? I don't know if you can hear that on the camera.
Sounds like whispering.
Do you hear that? It stopped. Well, I don't know what that is. That doesn't sound like wind, but that's crazy. Don't know if that's a bird or I don't know what that is. It almost sounds like snakes, but wow. I've heard some weird
speaking parcel tongue.
stuff in mines, but that is definitely creepy. I don't know what that is. So let's get out of here and head back out to the portal. That was weird.
Loud, unsettling sounds echoed through the tunnel. It was as if someone was whispering, talking faintly, just out of earshot. For a man who isn't easily scared, this experience left Jacob shaken in a way he had never felt before, knowing something wasn't right.
I think I keep hearing something. That was strange. I hear the air blowing here. Wow. I'm getting out of here, and you can really hear that airflow. I'm getting out of here and heading home.
With an overwhelming sense of danger, Jacob decided to head back toward the entrance, hoping to reach safety. But the mine wasn't done with him yet. As Jacob approached the exit, he noticed another section of the mine he hadn't explored yet. Summoning his courage, he cautiously walks toward it. That's when he notices something unusual: steel chains hanging from the ceiling. At first, it doesn't seem particularly unsettling, but as Jacob gets a closer look, something terrifying catches his attention.
This is one of the creepiest mine tunnels I've ever been in, just because of how dilapidated it is and all these chains hanging down from the overhead, and there's a shot looking down the tunnel even further, but still pretty wet. And taking a look around here back at the entrance, looking down the tunnel here.
That chain was spinning pretty hard back there. I don't think wind could do that.
I don't know why that one chain is swinging back there. Don't know if you can see that in the video or not. Yeah, this mine definitely has a very spooky vibe to it, and obviously something is making the chains swing. So, time to get the hell out of here.
One of the chains was swinging violently back and forth, even though it had been completely still moments before. Whatever was causing this wasn't natural. Coupled with the earlier whispering sounds, Jacob realized something powerful, or perhaps paranormal, was making its presence known. At this point, Jacob had seen enough. He decided to leave the mine, unwilling to risk further danger. Fortunately, Jacob made it out safely. However, the experience left him deeply unsettled. To this day, he wonders what truly happened in that abandoned mine. For him, there was no logical explanation for the eerie sounds and the swinging chain, leaving the mystery unsolved. This horrifying video...
What would you say would be worse, traveling under that cave or going into a catacomb? Retired U.S. Air Force officer Robert Jacobs catches a UFO on film down a missile.
At the end of the frame came something else. It flew into the frame like this, and it shot a beam of light at the warhead, which is represented by my thumb here. This stuff is flying at several thousand. At the end of the frame came something else. It flew into the frame like this, and it shot a beam of light at the warhead, which is represented by my thumb here. This stuff is flying at several thousand miles an hour. So this thing fires a beam of light at the warhead, hits it, and then this thing flies up like this. Meanwhile, we're all going like this, fires another beam of light, goes around like this, we're going like this, fires another beam of light, goes down like this, fires another beam of light, and then flies out the way it came in. And the warhead tumbles out of outer space. Now, I saw that. I don't give a goddamn what anybody else says about it. I saw that on film. Phil Klass can kiss my ass. He wasn't there. I was. Now, when the lights came on, Major Mansman turned around and looked at me and said, "Were you guys screwing around up there?" And I said, "No, sir." And he said, "What was that?" And I said, "It looks to me like we got a UFO."
10 billion%.
In Peru in 2011 for ayahuasca ceremony, and in a really unusual situation where the 17 of us that were all separated and led through our ayahuasca ceremonies as a kind of initiatic ordeal alone, like intentionally separated from one another rather than in a more kind of traditional circle, ceremony setting. And all 17 of us, separated and out of contact with one another through ceremony, all saw these weird sort of mantis-like black chrome kind of aliens that appeared to us each individually. And the next morning we all came back and we were like, "Oh, you saw that too? Like what?" And in my case, these beings that, kind of ran through the whole kind of classic gamut of behavior, including, psychic surgery on you. Like, they're like opening up your energy body and operating on your subtle energy systems or whatever. So I had that experience, and I had the experience, the beings that I saw in ceremony that year were trying to explain to me. I mean, again, like this is the subjective experience I had of this, was that they appeared to me out of nowhere. And I was like, "So how are you here? What is this? How are you showing up to me right now? Like, are you, and what they were saying was that, that there are different substrates on which life can emerge, or from which life can emerge. And that organic biochemistry is one of them, but organic biochemistry represents a specific stratum of temperature and pressure at which life can occur, and that life can occur at other pressures in other states of matter. And that their form of life occurs in plasmas that are, they're like ionized gases that are so hot and so electrically charged that organic life cannot develop from them, but that they can generate basically like magnetic holograms, and that the kinds of interactions that are necessary for life can emerge out of the substrate of those holograms. And so they were basically like, well, you actually have this too, like the living biological systems on the planet as we conventionally understand them all have this energetic component, which is, if you look at the work of like Irvin Laszlo or Rupert Sheldrake or some of these other people that have been trying to understand a new biology, a lot of them, puzzle into the relation of electromagnetism and, quantum vacuum holograms and so on. But the thing about, they were saying is like, well, we have like a material body. It's just that our material body is plasma, and you have you have like a plasma body, but that's not where evolution has tuned your attention, or has tuned your organization as and the encapsulation or the incarnation of an inference, a model of its environment. Like you live on a slow, cool planet, and so the focal point for you as a living system is on this the material, the chemical substrate, whereas we are too hot for chemistry, but we are holograms made out of the magnetic interactions of heavy metals at the center of the galaxy. And so like we can appear to you through the nonlinear interactions of our sort of subtle body and yours. But this is where we don't occupy time and space in the same way that you do, because of the fact that our experience is centered on a different, the emergent interactions of a different phase of matter. I was like, oh, okay. All right, cool.
Noted. Yeah,
noted. So like, but they were basically like, look, there's nothing supernatural about this. There's nothing, this is the same physics that you have. This is the same, substrate for biology on a very general level, but like you can't, like your eyeball would dissolve instantaneously if you tried to like actually physically co-locate with us. And the only way that we're able to appear to you is kind of like remotely through this spooky action at a distance or whatever.
Sounds like demons operating in a different dimension. It seems like it might be fun in a group. Like if I had a group of 15 or 20, I might consider it.
Off topic, search giants in Kenya. Got you. What's up, y'all? So if you don't know who this is Bradley, aka the Gen Z Goliath. His words, not mine. Shout out to Dr. D for sending me this information. So Bradley and two other giants then popped up out of nowhere, y'all. They showed up in Kenya, welcomed, treated like celebrities. Women love him, as you can see. Stardom. So usually in Kenya, people know exactly what tribe you're from. You have birth document. You have a lot of paperwork. Bradley did not. They just accepted him still. Bradley definitely a Nephilim, y'all. Like treated like a king. No document. Showed up out of nowhere. He just got his first pair of shoes the other day. He got some custom boots now, I think, but he usually had some sandals he's walking around with. He probably made himself. Look at Bradley's skull. Look at his jaw. Us and Bradley is not the same thing. Did y'all see the video of Bradley eating the pizza? He didn't know what the pizza was at first. Then he was looking around at everybody else to see how to eat it, and he definitely copied them. Y'all, what's going on? Are we living in the end of times? So Bradley and his homies, mind you, I don't know if they even know each other. All three of them is over 8 feet tall. Nephilim, for sure.
Not me counting the fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unless he's hiding one somewhere.
Let me tell you this ultimate truth. But before that, I gotta say this, for entertainment only. Not a fact, not advice. Alright, now listen. We've been at war, a war so old your history books don't even whisper it. Not over land, not over money, over energy, over soul light. And Earth, it ain't some floating ball in endless space. It's a sealed dome, a closed world, a trap. Forget rockets, forget aliens and silver ships. You can't leave. We are locked in, bound by forces deeper than gravity. What you call aliens, they're not from outer space. They're already here. Always have been. And this ain't science fiction. This is an interdimensional war, a spiritual bloodbath. The Dark Ones? They call them the Leviathan, shadows wearing skin. They run your food, your schools, your screens. They run your kings and your CEOs. They built this cage and handed you a screen to keep you smiling inside it. Your sadness, your anger, your fear, they eat that. They took your DNA, split it, twisted it. Long ago, there were 12 strands once tied to ancient beings, the Anunnaki, Lyrans, Pleiadians, Reptilians. You've heard the names whispered in myths. It's real, all of it. Your soul's bloodline remembers. That's why you're waking up. Every war, every lie, every miracle cure, all meant to keep you slow, numb, dull, so you never remember. But some of us, we came back, born into human flesh, beings of light, carriers of memory. That's why they fear the awakening, because once the light activates, the dark can't hide. Even Christ, he wasn't just a man. He was the brightest flame the light ever sent here, born with full memory, full power, and that's why they killed him, not for peace, for silence, to bury the real war under books, churches, and bedtime prayers. And this CEO they just took out, Thompson, he wasn't just a guy in a suit. He was a vessel, one of their own. The Leviathan lost a general. That's why they're scrambling. They can't stop the change. The treaties are broken. The masks are falling. What you call reality is just a prison made of frequency. Low, sick, draining. But once you raise yours, see past the static you remember. You remember who you are, why you're here, what you're meant to do. This isn't a story. It's the last truth. And once you wear those magic glasses, once you see it, you can never unsee it.
Are we trapped in some type of interdimensional war? You tell me.
After exposing Metatron's cube, this man never found again. Watch this.
This is the Metatron's cube. It represents the atom and the universe. The first big circle is the all. Every circle is the all. It is the atom itself. It is God. This is physicality. It is Earth. Here it is right here. Now they all fit into this six-pointed cube. Also air.
Octahedron.
Let's go water next here. Water is the downward triangle right in there. This all actually is light. This is just everything in the universe. It is self. Now we have space, or the ether. It is right here in the middle, and also right here. This atom is infinite. It will forever go on. There's a small one right here. You could leave it empty if you want, but I like to put stuff in it because it's fun. This is the entire universe. I won't talk about the angel. I will not talk about Metatron. This is the purpose. It is the way of the universe. If you can understand this, if you can decipher the code of what it is, you will have found yourself as the universe. All the elements are one thing, and that is light, the atom. This also means the same thing. You're on to it.
Why was he putting his fingers like that, like an evil villain at the end?
What are we looking at here? Cigar-shaped UFOs, long, sleek, and silent, gliding through our skies and above our planet. Sightings like these are no longer rare. They're showing up over China, over California, and even near the International Space Station. These aren't your classic saucers. They're massive cylindrical craft, some miles long, moving without wings, without sound, and without any visible propulsion. In China, residents captured footage of a glowing cylinder moving through the clouds with eerie precision. No wings, no contrails, just a perfectly straight shape hovering in broad daylight. Then thousands of miles away in California, a nearly identical craft appears. Same shape, same silent movement. It cruises past a mountain ridge and vanishes into the sky like it was never there. But the strangest of all? The ones caught on NASA's own space station feeds. Cameras show elongated objects drifting just outside Earth's atmosphere, stationary at first, then accelerating away at impossible speeds. So what are they? Some believe these are advanced reconnaissance drones, possibly extraterrestrial. Others claim they're part of secret programs, built by human hands but hidden from public view. And there's a third theory, that these are organic ships, living crafts, piloted not by beings inside but by intelligence within.
That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is Creepy Sunday. Go ahead and drop Creepy Sunday in the comments below. That lets me know you're a real one because you made it all the way through the video and you really support your boy. And I just want to say thank you for all your support. It means the world to me. I love you guys. Be sure to head over to Jet Ski Chuck later on today because I'm doubling up on you. You don't want to miss any of the action. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you later.